Hi everyone, my name is Sophia Coffey and I'm an independent living consultant with the Legal Aid Society of Palm Beach County. But long before I was working there, I was a youth on the other side of the table being represented by Legal Aid. Now, I wish I could tell you exactly where my story begins, but truth is, I don't remember a lot of it. I can't because trauma has such a funny way of blurring the lines when it manifests within your childhood. But what I do remember are moments of instability, survival, and a lot of uncertainty. That same instability followed me into my teenage years. I entered care at 16 and everything changed overnight for me, it felt like. But something a lot of people don't realize is that when I entered care, I wasn't just a foster youth. I was what they call a dually served youth, meaning that I had an open dependency case and I was also dealing with a criminal case at the same time. And legal aid really helped me with that criminal case. When I was assigned my attorney, Miss Allison, I truly did not know what to expect from her. This was my first time dealing with an attorney. At that point, I had already experienced so much instability in my life, whether it was with case managers or placements. I just wasn't expecting anyone to show up for me the way that she continued to. She was very different from all of the adults who were already in my life up to that point. It was the first time I felt heard, I felt seen. It felt like someone was actually listening to me and not just making choices about my case and my life for me. She was asking me how I felt about the things that they were explaining. And I think a lot of time within the courtroom there's so much legal jargon being used that youth don't really understand. And a lot of the times we're at the point where we just want things to be over and done with. When I first came out of foster care, I told them that I wanted to opt out of all services because the way that everything was explained to me by my case management just made absolutely no sense. And I think she was one of the people who was able to sit down and recognize, like, well, she is a teenage girl. She didn't go through law school. She didn't go to social work school. So she just doesn't know what you're actually saying, and she kind of just wants to hurry up and get out of our faces. So having someone who would sit there and really take the time to make sure that I was understanding helped save my life. And one thing we hear from many youth is that the one constant that they have is their attorney. I know with the Legal Aid Society of Palm Beach County, a lot of our youth know that when their attorney says that they're going to be there at a certain time, that they are going to be there at a certain time and not cancel 10 minutes before. And I think that's a very pivotal moment for a lot of youth. It's one of the first moments where they realize, wow, I can trust this person. They're not just saying, they're actually doing. And I think we need more doers in the world of social work. But the main thing that I admire about legal aid as a whole, especially now that I'm sitting within my professional career and not looking at it as a youth, is how they hire people who truly have a heart for the work. I think that if you're working with youth, it can't just be like, another day I have to wake up and go to work. You truly have to respect your clients, although they might be so young, they still have feelings and they still understand what moods you put towards them and the energy that you give them. So if you're giving them good energy and just continuously instilling in them that you do care and you only want what is best for you, it might take a while for some youth to click, but when they do, they're going to show up for you in ways that you would have never imagined. One of the things that I truly admire about legal aid is a lot of the different programs that we have. One of the things that I found really fascinating when I joined was the Resiliency Project. From my observations, a lot of the kids who are engaged in this are youth that people would have probably given up on because they're not engaging as fast as you would like them to, or they're not clicking with you. Rather than just pushing them to the side and accepting defeat, they've come up with a program that builds strength, confidence, and builds long-term success for young people. If you have a kid who really likes swimming, the social workers will go out and find a program that youth can join. And a lot of the times you can get kids to open up if you're doing something that they enjoy with them. It's a bonding experience like you would do with your own kids or your partners. But these aren't just programs that have been created through legal aid. They are lifelines. They're the kind of support that can change the entire trajectory of a child's life if you give it the chance. Another thing that I'm very proud of Legal Aid for is taking the time to hire me and Alexia. As I said, I have lived experience, but she does as well. We're close in age to the youth that we serve, and this has allowed us to connect with them on a different level, in a way that goes beyond any textbook that you've ever read, because we've truly lived and walked inside of their shoes. We're able to connect with them because we were them. We know what it feels like to sit in those rooms, to feel unheard, to feel uncertain, and to feel like your future is completely out of your control. And because of that, we're able to build trust and create real relationships and support youth in a way that feels authentic and impactful, which I think that they don't get a lot in their day-to-day lives. But I personally think that there's another really important thing that youth need to be able to become their full selves, and that is a mentor. When I was a teenager, I can tell you, sometimes I was just being mean to people because I was able to. But it took for someone to really sit down with me and see that the way that I spoke up to myself, that energy can be put into something else. Mr. Mike came into my life when I was, I want to say 18, and he immediately saw my fire and my passion for everything that I do and put me into an advocacy program. I've been part of that advocacy program for the last 5 years now, and I have truly bloomed from it. Because of that advocacy program, I have gotten to go to the White House. I've advocated on the national, state, and local levels and helped laws get passed, as well as write and form bills. This is something that I've never seen myself doing, but I now cannot imagine not doing it. But at the end of the day, I think an important thing to see is we're more than legal representation. We're advocacy for these youth. We're consistency. We're their support. We're the people who show up day after day over and over again for youth who need someone in their corner. So if I have one big piece of advice to give to everyone, it's to continue to show up. Do it tired, do it sad, do it mad. Just constantly be in their corner, and there's going to be a point that they see that, even if it's not tomorrow, maybe it's 10 years down the line when they're sitting in their professional lives behind the desk and suddenly they think about that worker who really supported them and made them feel heard.